carpet.
This is easy.
Wait,
I'll just do this.
Okay, yeah, I was getting you in there too.
There. I got it.
Okay.
I'm on it.
Let's get that right there. Hold on, let me. This doesn't have to be super big. I just have to know that it's recording. There we go. All right, ready?
I am.
Okay. 3. Oh, hold on. Let's get you looking at that mic. Well, let's not make you center. I exist too.
Oh, okay. I thought you just meant for now.
No,
Sorry.
it just wasn't positioned well. That's fine. Okay. 3, 2.
Chapter 1. That was a terrible night for the great city of New York. The night of Tuesday, November 3rd, 1896. The city staggered under the blow like a huge ocean liner which plunges, full speed, with terrific crash into a mighty iceberg, and recoils shattered and trembling like an aspen. The people were gathered, light-hearted and confident, at the evening meal when the news burst upon them. It was like a thunderbolt of an azure sky. Altgeld holds Illinois hard and fast in the Democratic line. This elects Bryan President of the United States. Strange to say, the people in the upper portion of the city made no movement to rush out of their houses and collect in the public squares, although the night was clear and beautiful. They sat as if paralyzed with a nameless dread, and when they conversed, it was with bated breath and throbbing hearts. In less than half an hour, mounted policemen dashed through the streets calling out, "Keep within your houses! Close your doors and barricade them! The entire East Side is in a state of uproar. Mobs of vast size are organizing under the lead of anarchists and socialists, and threaten to plunder and despoil the houses of the rich who have wronged and oppressed them for so many years. Keep within doors. Extinguish all lights."
Ooh. You want me to... am I supposed to...
No, you're not supposed to respond right now. It's just supposed to lead directly into the song.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Which you can do in post.
Yeah.
Except for the poor people on Patreon who have to hear all of this.
Hey, you gotta hear all... Look, right then, that's when it's gonna start. Okay, so... Let me just... I'm not gonna cut right here anyways. So that I know where to cut. I don't have to cut in the future, right? Make my job easy by doing it right now. Yeah.
Yep, you made that noise.
So good and tasty. Yes, that's for our patrons right there.
Yep.
All right. We will start anew.
Can you click back over to my notes, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2. Hey there. Welcome back to The Truth Is Somewhere, a conspiracy theory podcast where we talk about that, conspiracies, and other things in that vein. Megan, we had a stellar intro today.
Something a little different for you.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Today we are going to take a moment to talk about this enduring little conspiracy that actually came up over a year ago, but recently had a resurgence this January about Trump's family and the possibility of Trump being a time traveler.
Oh, a time traveler.
A time traveler.
Oh, no.
All right. Are you ready? Are you ready for it?
President Trump,
time traveler.
Trump,
like it.
time traveler.
Oh, yep. Trump, time traveler.
I think that's the name of our episode right there. Trump, time traveler.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe I'll get a good a good thumbnail.
You do it.
Yeah.
You do that. Okay. The year is 1893.
Uh-huh.
And Ingersoll Lockwood publishes a children's book called Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey.
Ooh, Baron Trump.
Baron Trump. The book is a sequel to a book titled The Travels and Adventures of Little Baron Trump and His Wonderful Dog Bulger.
Okay.
And it's about Wilhelm Heinrich Sebastian von Troomp, who was born a baron and is most often referred to as Baron Trump in the book.
Okay.
The Marvelous Underground Journey details his boredom with his luxurious lifestyle, and he sets off to Russia with his dog Bulger in search of alternate dimensions.
Oh.
Baron Trump's brain is so big that his head has grown to twice the normal size.
Uh-huh.
Which he mentions often throughout his narration. There are
Okay.
little doodles of, like, this kid with much bigger head. Yeah, it's great. Baron's adventures in Russia find him the center of attention for swooning foreign women, who he brushes off with a comment about his superior intelligence.
Oh, no.
Yep. He even once sued his own tutors, claiming that they should pay him for all the things he taught them. And he won.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't a real person, though, right?
No. This is a character in a children's book that was written in 1893.
Okay. But they're saying it's based off of a real person.
So, yes, the Baron Troomp was a real person, but the work is purely fantasy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it was written on a real person, but fantasy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, it would be like if we wrote a book about Obama being a superhero.
Yes. Real person, purely fantasy.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this begins a marvelous conspiracy regarding our president and his family. So obviously President Trump has a son named Baron, but that's spelled with 2 R's versus the spelling of the title Baron.
Yeah.
But still, Baron Trump. It's a little weird.
I'm not surprised he named his son like that.
Right. So he comes from a prominent family and lives in, so our Baron Trump, our little Baron Trump from the book, he comes from a prominent family and lives in Trump Castle, like Trump Tower.
Yeah.
And while in Russia, Baron Trump's adventures are guided by a man called Dawn, and who is referred to as the Master of all Masters.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to note for a moment, though, that this character is a, quote, learned Spaniard, and in Spanish, Dawn means mister.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's just Mr. something or other.
Sure.
But it's a really good coincidence regardless. Like, it's a lot of fun. Right.
Yes. Yeah. Dog. I think he needs a collar. Because he's been like this all day. You get a special collar. Yes, you do. You get a special collar.
He just barks at nothing. It's like he just goes crazy, and he goes crazy if we play music, he goes crazy if we turn on the TV.
Our patrons are still,
Yep, I was just telling them all about how Bishop barks at absolutely nothing, and he goes crazy over
he literally
the
barks
TV
at nothing.
and the music.
Alright, what was the last thing you said? Let's listen.
I think I said something about it's a good coincidence about Dawn meaning Mister.
Because he's been like this all day. Gotta go back further. He's been like this all day. Oh, don't listen to that. Don't listen to it.
Oh look, there's Bishop's bark.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. He's still grumbling over there, even with that collar on. Okay. Yeah.
So it's just Mister something or other.
Sure.
But it's a really good coincidence regardless. Like, it's a lot of fun.
A lot of fun coincidences and shut up, Bishop. You ruined it. All right. Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2.
So, despite sharing a name with the youngest of the Trump clan, little Baron Trump appears to be much more like the current patriarch of the real estate tycoon turned political family.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going to usher in the theory. Donald Trump is a time traveler.
Yeah, of course.
Yep, of course. Now, strap in, folks. Strap in, Corey. Are you ready?
I don't have any
Okay.
seatbelt. I'll do the best I can, though. I'll hold on.
All right. Hold on real tight. Sit down if you want. Maybe pull your car over. Because enter Nikola Tesla.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Yep. So in his later years, Tesla worked on several large projects that defy the reason of simpler minds and have continued to confound the most brilliant among us.
Absolutely.
Or at least that's what we think.
Uh-huh.
One of those projects was indeed time travel. And upon Tesla's death in 1946, the FBI swooped in and took possession of all of Tesla's notes and papers. and they were examined by a renowned physicist who worked for the government's Office of Scientific Research and Development.
Mm-hmm.
And this renowned physicist was none other than Donald Trump's uncle, John G. Trump.
Wow.
I know.
Wait, Donald Trump's uncle was a
Renowned physicist. I know, it doesn't make any sense at all. Like, clearly it, like, skipped that side of the family.
Hey, you know what? No,
it,
you can't say that.
Skipped a generation.
You can't say that. He is the president of the United States of America. Are you?
No, I am not, but...
I mean, whether you like it or not, renowned physicist to president is not a downgrade.
No, it's not. But he's...
Say what you will.
He is not on
Say
the intellectual level of a renowned
He is
physicist.
not my favorite person either, but...
I'm just saying, intellectually, that's not... It doesn't make any sense. Like, that does not compute.
It does not compute either.
It doesn't compute. Anyway.
His uncle could probably handle a Twitter better, even though he never heard of one.
Probably. Theorists believe that Tesla actually discovered the ability to travel through time, and John G. Trump took that information and shared it with his nephew.
Mm-hmm.
So the adventures of Bear and Trump are at least partially based in reality, and are about Donald Trump himself, who traveled back in time.
Yep. Okay, so when Donald Trump was born, he's actually from this time, right? From the time that he's actually from, but he traveled back in time as a child?
Yes.
And they wrote a book about him,
Mm-hmm.
and then he came back.
And then he came back.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
With the knowledge he learned...
As a child with a brain too big?
Yes,
Yeah.
to better humanity.
Mm-hmm.
He just...
Maybe it was maybe he went back in time and wrote himself an autobiography about how his...
I doubt he wrote that about himself. It would have said something about how stupendous he is.
It did.
Really?
His
oh,
brain
you're right,
was
you're right.
so big that his head had to grow 3 sizes
That's
larger.
right, yeah,
and
okay,
the
I was wrong.
foreign women just swooned over him in Russia.
You're right,
And the
you're right.
tutors had to pay him for how much they learned from him.
Do you think he wrote out the PeePee Party?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
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 I distracted you.
You did.
I detracted you
me.
too much.
Similarly, to throw us off the trail,
Uh-huh.
John G. Trump wrote in published papers that the last decade of Tesla's life were, quote, primarily of a speculative, philosophical, and somewhat promotional character, end quote. So they didn't give John G. Trump anything solidly scientific to work with, but I'm saying that if the government discovered the secrets of death rays and time travel, which is what Tesla was working on when he died,
Mm-hmm.
they aren't likely to publish that, and they're probably more likely to have a scientific spokesperson effectively call it all Codswell up. So if we're gonna go
Sure.
conspiratorial, right, let's just go there.
Say that it existed, right?
Mhm.
And that it's more likely the
It's a
government.
cover-up.
My only thought about a death ray is I think it would have already come out.
Okay,
We've already dropped atomic bombs.
sure.
I really think unless a death ray is more devastating than an atomic bomb, I doubt that we actually have that.
Sure.
But hey, who's to say
I'm
that
just saying,
we don't
if we're
have
gonna go
time
with
travel?
the conspiracy, we're going with the conspiracy. That's all.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
going for it. We're going for it.
Let's do it.
The Trump as a time traveler camp also points to the fact that so many of his Obama-era tweets seem to relate to too effectively to things he is actually doing as president,
Oh yeah.
which he then contradicts.
Sure, of course.
For instance, in November 2013, he tweeted, quote, I truly believe that our country has the worst and dumbest negotiators of virtually any country in the world, end quote. Can I just remind everyone that we just ended the longest shutdown in U.S. history because of possibly the worst and dumbest negotiator in the world? Yeah. I just want to remind you of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or this one from June of 2015, quote, our country is in a major crisis of incompetent leadership. We cannot continue to go on with these politicians who do nothing but talk, end quote. June of 2015.
Yeah.
Yep. Or this one from August of 2013, quote, be prepared. There is a small chance that our horrendous leadership could unknowingly lead us to World War III, end quote.
Oh, we thought that was going to happen a few times when his presidency started.
Yeah, we did. Oh, this is my personal favorite. It's from June of 2014. Quote, are you allowed to impeach a president for gross incompetence? End quote.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he's a time traveler and he's tweeting about himself. Yep. That's what they like to think.
I'm not in the I don't want to upset our viewers. I'm keeping my mouth shut.
I don't care. We didn't care about the vaccinations. We don't care about this.
Okay.
Okay. And if children's books about an egotistical baron and a few time-bending tweets aren't enough for you,
okay,
hang on to your tinfoil hats.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. In 1896, Ingersoll Lockwood publishes another book. This time, it's not a children's book about Baron Trump and his dog, but a book titled 1900, or The Last President.
Oh.
The book is written as though a historian is explaining how the United States collapsed, and the words I read at the beginning of the podcast were the very first page of The Last President. And I want to read just a tiny snippet from a couple pages later. I didn't want to read, like, all 3 pages, so I'm just going to read this tiny little thing. Quote, "The Fifth Avenue Hotel will be the first to feel the fury of the mob. Would the troops be in time to save it?"
Am I supposed to get something out of that?
Trump Tower is on Fifth Avenue.
Oh, I don't know that.
Oh, you don't know that? Really?
Why would I know that? Why do I care?
I thought that was just common knowledge. So anyway,
No.
Trump Tower, Trump lives on Fifth Avenue in New York City.
Wow.
And then later in the book, the new president appoints a man by the last name of Pence to the cabinet.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He's like the Secretary of Agriculture, which is a far cry from being the vice president.
I mean,
yeah,
but you're...
Pence. Yeah.
Wow.
So obviously this makes all sorts of people draw spooky connections. They think the book is a warning about Trump as president, and upon first reading that first page, you do think it's kind of parallels the people protesting in 2016 and early 2017 upon Trump's win and subsequent inauguration.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, they're being led by the socialists and the
Sure.
anarchists, right? Like, that's totally the kind of thing that was being talked about. But I happen to think that people who stick with that idea are lacking reading comprehension,
Okay.
or didn't bother to look and read any further. And lucky for you guys, I did the reading for you. It's dry. It's horrible. You don't want to read it, but I did it for you.
Okay.
And I'm going to explain something to you.
Sure, sure.
So the person who wins president, known only as Brian, is a populist, and he appeals to the, quote, common people. And Trump did this too, but that's where the parallel stops. It ends. In fact, Brian runs on a socialist platform, and Trump is about as anti-socialist as it gets.
Yeah.
And Brian does away with the gold standard, creates social welfare programs to house the homeless and poor. So if anything, in my opinion, the book parallels FDR's presidency, because that's literally what FDR did.
Okay, that makes sense.
Not Trump's at all. And at the end, there seems to be the possibility of a civil war between the North and South again, and the Speaker of the House tells the president he must resign. He starts to make a speech and sway people to his side again. He's described so many times in the book as godlike. Like, people just love him and, like, fall at his feet. And so everybody's mad at him because of this potential civil war, and then he starts to talk to the people, and people are like, oh no, he's godlike. And then the Capitol explodes.
It just explodes?
They're with dynamite.
Oh. They just fill it full of dynamite and blow it up, huh?
Yep, the end.
That's all, folks.
Exactly. Yep, the end.
Well, okay, the end.
Yep, that's the end of the book. There's an allusion to possibly the all-seeing eye at the end of the book.
Illuminati.
Yeah, Illuminati confirmed. Looking upon the blown-up Capitol.
It's just the eye sees
And that's
it?
supposed to be about the downfall of the United States and the very last president.
Oh, what?
So, I would argue, because this does not truly parallel the presidency, I would argue, the date I think was November 3rd that I read in the beginning. 2020, the election is also on November 3rd. So if we're going to talk about, like, time travel and this author possibly also being a time traveler versus Trump being a time traveler, which is the other conspiracy, and him warning of what could happen, I would think that it would actually be about the election in 2020 and who takes over from Trump as the last president. And the only reason that I say this, because I happen to be rather progressive myself, if you all could not tell by now.
I had no idea.
That if it comes to pass that Trump does not win as an incumbent, which is very rare, but historically low
rating.
low approval ratings.
Yeah, yeah.
So if it does come to pass, it will likely go to a progressive.
Uh-huh.
So the socialists and the anarchists taking to the street to celebrate would make sense.
Not to riot.
From that perspective, not to riot, to celebrate, which is what they were doing.
Oh, that's what they were doing?
That's what they were
doing.
doing.
Why did they tell them to lock their doors and turn off their lights?
They were telling the rich people to lock their doors.
Oh.
Yeah, they were like, rich people, they're coming after you because you've oppressed them for so long. Lock your doors and turn off the lights.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And that's why they were like, the hotel on Fifth Avenue will be the first to fall. So, like, Trump Tower will be the first to fall because all of these people might. So my opinion, even though a lot of people try to claim that it's about Trump, my opinion would be that it is about the presidency after Trump's.
Okay.
Not to say that I think that socialism is bad or any of that kind of stuff and that that's going to bring about the downfall. Although, I'm in my element now.
Oh boy.
Although, if it were to bring about the downfall, it would absolutely be because of a civil war between the North and the South, essentially. Except it wouldn't be the North and the South. It would be like big cities versus rural. Yeah,
it would be about
it would be where the population lives.
The outer population versus the inner population continentally.
So you'd have like the I-5 corridor.
Yeah.
On the West Coast, right?
For the most
Seattle,
part.
Portland, San Francisco, LA.
Mm-hmm.
Down the left coast. And then you'd have like New York and some of those more democratic strongholds over on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Versus everyone else. So where the big population bases are.
Yeah.
Against rural America.
You mean where like 70% of the population is, I think?
Where 70% of the population is.
Yeah.
So that's how it would split up, because it would go the common people, right? The quote common people that Trump appeals to are the people who tend to live in rural areas.
You mean the uncommon people?
Yes, I know. They're not the majority. But it's common people isn't necessarily saying majority. It's saying like essentially like blue collar.
Yeah, the working class.
The working class blue collar who are losing their jobs because we don't do coal anymore because there's no such thing as clean coal, and that is the way of the past. Yeah. And so all of these little towns are dying. Like these coal mining towns that are based entirely upon that are dying because that's not an industry we need anymore. Because we're moving on to cleaner energy. And so they're mad. Yeah. And they see, because Trump says shit like clean coal.
Clean coal.
Which is
not a thing.
Nuts. But because he tries to appeal to them, which is stupid. Don't let this motherfucker, billionaire, appeal to you when you are downtrodden and live off of food stamps and like your jobs are going away. Like, don't let that appeal to you. That is not, he's not going to help you. He's not. But anyway, appeals to the common people. So if he loses, and the socialists and the anarchists, right, rise up and they're like, yeah, take down the rich people.
I mean, anarchists would win if there was...
either way.
Anarchists are coming back.
But, like, the socialists take to the street, the socialists, the progressives, the liberals, everybody else who hates Trump takes to the streets and is like, yeah, down with the rich oligarchy, fascism, blah, 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 yeah. And then you're going to have this whole faction of people who now feel like no one is speaking for the common people.
Sure.
And there's going to be this uprising, and that would be what it is.
Yeah, that might be
This has been a slight political history lesson with Reagan's piece.
You know, there's something to say about riots that don't start out as riots. They start out as peaceful marches or something else like that, and then suddenly some group of people aggravate them.
Suddenly someone runs over a person with a car.
Yeah, it turns into a riot. And both sides are fighting each other, and that might be what it is. Maybe they won, and police come through because they're like, hey, look, it's turned into a riot. They didn't know that it wasn't a riot in the first place. Yeah. And it's shown because both sides of the political line have the deplorables. They have the people that don't care about anyone, the anarchists, if you will, that are going to, or those people that think they can they can take advantage of a situation, right?
Sure.
Smash in windows, steal things, just go out there and break stuff and have fun, right? which obviously is wrong, but if you have those on both sides...
I would say that those people aren't politically minded. Those people aren't there for the political reasons.
I'm not saying they're there for the political reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some of them are, but I'm saying that they're there.
Okay, yeah.
They're the spark that starts the fire that burns down the cities.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. And maybe I'm playing around with the conspiracy as well. That's what starts the riots. That's what starts the theft, right?
The anarchists.
The anarchists, yeah.
Who are like, we want the government to topple because anarchists don't believe in.
Well,
in
there's also
government.
something to say about a lot of people who win and suddenly think they can do whatever they want.
Sure.
And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I'm pretty sure that's on both sides of the fence. That people think, hey, now we're the big dogs. We can do what we want to do, right? They take it too far. So both those books are written by the same guy, right?
Yep, the children's book about Baron Trump and then the one about the last president.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely... maybe Trump is not the time traveler. It's just this author who, went...
Yeah.
Yeah, right? He came to the future, or he's from the present time and then went to the past. Either way, I believe that for this to have the most ground... I'm trying to remember what the rule is. Occam's razor. Right? I may have brought it up before, but the simplest solution is usually the answer. I think the simplest solution in this is that he went back in time and wrote about this guy who's on the news every day. Every day for something ridiculous he said, something ridiculous he did, something. And yeah, are we paying a little too much attention to him? Absolutely, but that's because it pays. But you see that, and then you go back in time and you write satire, right? And then you go, man, I could go back in the future again and get some more fodder to write about, something more.
And he's
or
like,
maybe,
oh my god, the country's gonna end.
Yeah, or maybe he got it all, got it all then, and then he decided, once the present time got to where it was, he's like, I'm never going back there again.
No
he
kidding.
wrote his 2 books. Maybe he did.
3 books.
3 books. He
2
wrote...
Baron Trump novels and this End of the World novel.
Okay, so he wrote his 2 about Baron Trump and then the End of the World, and that was it.
That was it. That's the end of it.
Maybe he spent his whole time in the future and went back in the past. Maybe he's from the present.
Maybe.
Went back in the past. I'm just saying, simplest solution is that the author is the one that time traveled, not Trump.
The simplest solution is that it's all a big quinky dink, but...
Well, I'm saying simplest solution within
to still
the
be a conspiracy. Yeah.
Well, it's not a conspiracy at that point.
Well, that's true.
It's the truth.
It's the truth. Oh, we found it.
Well, maybe. Probably, we didn't find anything.
Actually, so it was great because I had several of my friends posting this on Facebook. A really good little breakdown about this. And our friend Maxine actually sent it to me and was like, have you seen this? And I was like, I've seen this so many times today. I'm already working on an episode for it.
That's great. That's great.
So, in case anybody else had seen it floating around Facebook and wanted more of a breakdown of it, there you have it.
Yeah, and we'll, I don't know, maybe post some of your stuff on the chat group, the thread.
Yeah, the thread.
Yeah, that would be kind of fun. Maybe get some people to talk about that in there.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. So, in case you guys didn't know, we have a Facebook group in which we talk to people, and people talk to us, and sometimes we share some memes, have a couple of laughs, and so on. What else do we have, Megan?
So you can find that group by searching for TTAS Podcast.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Just like you can find us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. The same thing, TTAS Podcast. So you search for TTAS Podcast Group. You'll find the group. You just search for TTAS Podcast. You find our Facebook page. You find our Twitter. You find our Instagram. If you would like to give us a shout out and talk to us via email, it's thetruthissomewherepodcast@gmail.com. Our show notes are at thetruthissomewhere.com. If you want to buy some merch, you can find that at thetruthissomewhere.threadless.com. If you like what we're doing, you can hop on over to iTunes, leave that positive review. It helps other people find us.
Yeah.
Also, word of mouth is always great. I know that our executive producer, Aife, really hits that hard, that word of mouth thing. I see her all over Facebook telling people
that's great.
to listen to us. So thanks, Aife.
Thank you, Aife.
And if you really, really like what we are doing, you can be an executive producer just like Aife, or you can choose a lower tier over on Patreon, and that's also TTIS Podcast.
Yeah, it's all one word. If you just look for TTIS Podcast, it is literally the first thing that pops up. Ooh, I bumped. It's the first thing that pops up on Google.
Yep.
Our Twitter account is the first thing you'll see.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to find everything from there. Super easy.
Yep.
Excellent,
Easy
guys.
peasy. That's all I got for you. The truth is somewhere, you guys. Keep looking.
Game over, man. Game over. Cool. That went longer than I thought it was going to. We were at 12 minutes, and I was like, you are right here.
I know, but I had more to talk about.
Oh, shit.
I had more to talk about.
Well,
I knew it was going to be a short one, but I thought it would be entertaining.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's good. I was afraid that we were going to hit 12 minutes and I was going to have nothing to say.